The densely populated Gaza Strip has become a symbol of death, destruction, and devastation. Hamas's October 7 ambush triggered a furious reaction from Israel. Within hours, Gaza, which was a Hamas stronghold, was being bombed left, right, and center, followed by a deadly ground invasion. And that has been continuing to this very day.
אזרחי ישראל, אנחנו במלחמה, לא במבצע.
الله أكبر! شعب الله معنا! شعب الجبارين!
Israel's war on Gaza is one of the deadliest and most destructive in recent history. Nearly 42,000 people have been killed. A little over half of them were women and children.
Today, the people of Israel are under attack. The United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back.
Entire families have been wiped out as Israel bombs the Gaza Strip to dismantle Hamas's infrastructure. The death toll may even be higher, as thousands of bodies remain buried under rubble or in areas that are inaccessible to medical teams. Many countries and rights groups are calling it a genocide against Palestinians.
Gaza is becoming a graveyard for children. Hundreds of girls and boys are reportedly being killed or injured every day.
Those who are alive have been crammed into tents along the coast or in schools which have turned into shelters. But most have no electricity, no running water, or even toilets. According to the United Nations, around 90% of Gaza's population of 2.3 million people have been displaced, often multiple times. Israeli evacuation orders now cover around 90% of the territory. Aid groups have been struggling to bring in basic supplies because of Israeli restrictions, the ongoing fighting, and the breakdown of law and order in Gaza. Hunger and diseases are widespread in the Gaza Strip. The war has gutted Gaza's infrastructure, which was already in bad shape after a 16-year blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt when Hamas seized power in 2007. There is nearly 40 million tons of debris and rubble in Gaza now. That's enough to fill New York Central Park to a depth of around 8 meters, or 25 feet. And it could take up to 15 years and nearly $650 million to clear it all away. Where houses, shops and offices once stood, there are now giant drifts of rubble laced with human remains, hazardous substances and unexploded munitions. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have said they are only willing to contribute to Gaza's reconstruction as part of a post-war settlement that creates a path to a Palestinian state. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ruled that out, saying he won't allow Hamas or even the Western-backed Palestinian Authority to govern in Gaza. The humanitarian catastrophe unleashed by Israel's campaign has isolated the country internationally. The scale of the war in Gaza has outraged many across the world. From the Middle East to the US and Europe, thousands have taken to the streets in different cities, demanding an end to the bloodshed in Gaza. The US and other allies have supported Israel's right to self-defense, but Israel has faced wide international condemnation over its actions in Gaza. The killing and destruction in Gaza has drawn some of the biggest global demonstrations in years, including in the US, which saw weeks of pro-Palestinian college campus encampments. The global outrage has not deterred Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. He has pledged to crush, destroy, and achieve total victory over Hamas. Until then, the war will go on. Israel says it has bombed more than 40,000 Hamas targets, found 4,700 tunnel shafts, and destroyed 1,000 rocket launcher sites in the Gaza Strip in 1 year. But now Israeli troops have returned to several areas across Gaza where they had previously conducted operations against Hamas, only to find the militants regrouping. As the Gaza war enters its second year and the devastation only increases, what is Israel's endgame?